their brain. It just kind of like allows them to pass the buck and not really look at what's going on. I mean, culture has such a huge role to play in this. And, you know, it really is so important to see it for what it is and to really address that because, you know, I mean, we shouldn't be reading Vogue magazine as 35-year-old women and looking at teenagers and wishing we had a teenage body. It's just, something is completely wrong.
Well, it's, you know, it's everywhere. You know, it's either they're saying, you know, we are eating too much and we're too big and we're too fat and we're messing up the kids. And or, you know,
you're right. It is
you're supposed to look like this. And it, you know, people just, because physically we're so different, we're just gonna be, some of us are gonna have bigger butts.
Exactly. And, you know, there's a great book called Intuitive Eating. And in it she says, you know, you don't try to fit a size 8 foot into a size 6 shoe.
No.
And that's just the way it is. You have to be able to get to a point where you just accept your bone structure, how your body naturally wants to be. And if you can accept that, you will always remain at that weight, and you will never, ever have to live your life on a diet. You can eat whatever you want.
Well, I try diets periodically, and I just don't, you know, my interest wanes because there's things I want to eat.
Because they don't work.
Yes.
95% of diets don't work, of people on a diet.
Are we supposed as human beings to be on diets?
Obviously we're not, and yet, I mean, all the statistics say this doesn't work, and yet we think it's our fault when it doesn't work. I don't know why. It's like we don't look at dieting and go, oh, maybe you're to blame.
Yeah.
We think we don't have willpower, and yet we have willpower to study, do exams, work, make deadlines, do whatever else in life, but the one thing that us women can't quite wrap our arms around is dieting. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, you just made a really interesting visual. You know, everything in my head is visual. So you're saying, well, you wouldn't try to put a size 8 foot in a size 6 shoe because it hurts.
Right. Yeah.
It hurts. So I'm not sure why we can't wrap ourselves around that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, we are. Because, you know, even at that emaciated weight, I still had the same bone structure. I was still looking at hips that were wider than my shoulders. I wasn't going to change my body shape. It's the way I am. It's how I'm put together. And the quicker than you can accept just the way you are, the happier you're going to be. Dieting, all it really does is assure that you're going to be miserable and have no self-esteem and just feel like a failure. And who wants to feel like a failure every day?
Is there another question over there? Oh, my goodness, look at that. Hands everywhere.
What was I thinking?
Good evening, Portia and Whoopi. How are
you?
Hi. Pleasure to see you guys here, and thank you for being so brave and telling your story. I'm kind of shaking listening to it. It's kind of hard to hear. I had a sister who suffered with the same illness, and I believe I had some issues about my own body at certain times in my life. I'm a vegan chef. And I wanted to know, and by the way, Whoopi, I can make you eat your greens.
No, you can't.
I can.
You should get his number, actually.
Double nickels. When I hit double nickels, I knew I didn't have to eat my greens.
Oh, I don't know about, okay, well, okay. Yeah. Got you. But anyway, I wanted to know how veganism affected your life, and then on maybe the slightly cynical side, was it...
Yes, I know.
Yes.
I tell you something. I recovered fully 100% before deciding to not eat animals. And my decision to be vegan was purely ethical. I'd always called myself an animal lover, but I kind of realized that I was saying I love dogs, cats, and horses because I'll eat everything else.
Right.
And it just didn't feel good for me anymore. And, I mean, I've only been vegan for about 2 years. And I've been well and truly recovered now for 8 years. But I'll tell you something about being vegan. It's very, very hard for me because I don't want people to misinterpret it. I don't want people to go, oh, but she's she has crazy disordered eating now because she's vegan. I eat everything I want. I just don't want to hurt animals. So I don't want to eat animals, but I will eat potato chips. I will eat every vegan candy that is made, and they're all good. You really don't miss out on anything. And I just feel better.
Yeah.
But, it didn't do a huge thing for weight loss for me or anything like that. I am probably around 130 pounds, and that's the way I've always been. It's probably the way I will be. But it is I don't know, I just feel better. I just feel a little bit more spiritual about it, actually. I just feel, I don't know, a little kinder.
Yeah, I'm still a barbarian. I am. Give me a chicken leg. I'm a happy girl.
Honestly, you should get his number. Good for you for being a vegan chef, by the way.
There's another. Okay.
Hi, thank you for coming. I have a niece now struggling with this issue, and this may be too personal a question, but I'm wondering, aside from the societal pressure and what we know they're doing to young girls and people who want to be in the industry and models and actresses and all that, is there something else you think that was like a personal issue around your puberty years that seems to be such a vulnerable age, and people sometimes feel like they have to please everybody or try to be perfect or...
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. There was too much emphasis placed on what I looked like. And I think the best thing you can do for really young girls is to not say, oh, look how cute you are. Look at your cute little pigtails and your cute little dress. We really have to not do that to little kids, to little girls. We have to say, look how smart you are. And it's really hard. I have an 18-month-old niece, and I find myself saying, look how cute that dress is, and look how cute. I mean, it's really, that's something that you can do. And I know that my sexuality, struggling with that, definitely had an effect. But I think that is really just not being able to accept yourself. But yeah, I just felt like what I looked like was more important than what I did. And I forgot that I was hired as an actress because I could act. I thought I was just supposed to look pretty, which is so stupid. But I just think placing emphasis on just the external, just how you look, is just a recipe for insecurity.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's never going to get any better, let's face it. We all just get older and older. I mean, it's just you...
Well, let's talk about that, because it's interesting that you bring that up, because people are getting older. It does happen. It continues to happen, but we seem to try to outrun it. People put,
that's ridiculous.
The Botox and
I
the
gotta say, it's
stuff.
It makes me so angry. Now we can't age. It's like we have to look like teenagers, and now we can't age on top of it. It's ridiculous. And here's the thing that you got to realize. Only 20 years ago, we were looking at Cindy Crawford and Naomi Campbell as the image of the ideal woman.
Yes.
Now we're looking at nameless, kind of stick-thin 15-year-olds. Girls from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Like now it's just shifted.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're more beautiful. It's because of other reasons.
Yeah.
And probably because they're less expensive to hire. There's a lot of factors that go into this.
Yeah.
And it's also a very male-dominated industry. The clothes